Well, which takes us to our drive-in special for the week. The Devil's Rejects from 2005 by Rob Zombie. Stars Sid Haig, Sheri Moon Zombie. Oh, I just got connected. That's just Rob Zombie. She's Mrs. Zombie?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I just not connected that. I didn't notice that.
That's his lady friend. Yes.
I was going to say, oh, look, a zombie. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And Bill Moseley.
Mm-hmm.
Sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, which we'll be reviewing next week.
See, I wonder if I should have seen House of a Thousand Corpses first.
It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's some of the people you saw in the beginning where they recap. They find the house with all the dead bodies in it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen House of a Thousand Corpses, it's okay to watch this first. It's not a crucial prequel
Because
or
that
anything.
recap covers everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
We start out with a heavily disfigured man dragging a naked dead girl through the woods. He pauses when he sees a bunch of police cars heading towards his house. They all drive up to the Firefly Ranch and get out, armed and ready to storm the place.
That was Tiny dragging the body.
Yeah, we find later that his name is Tiny, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff Wydell gets on the PA and announces that they have no escape. Come out with your hands up. And he's wearing his big old cowboy hat, and he's got his sheriff's badge. He's like a cowboy kind of guy.
It's set in 1978. I don't know if you mentioned that.
You can tell by the cars, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's no internet, so no cell phones. Other than that, I don't know that it's too important what year it takes place, other than it is, period. You can tell by looking.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, everyone scrambles to load their weapons. They were all asleep. They put on metal face masks for protection and start shooting. Everybody starts shooting.
Yeah, everybody.
The cops break in and start shooting, but the bad guys' armor protects most of them.
And
Otis,
they've got a lot of guns.
they're
bullets.
well armed. Otis and Baby escape, but their mother is captured by the sheriff. And one of the brothers dies.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's one of the brothers. I don't know who he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I think it was.
One of the bad guys gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
There are photos of a clown that the sheriff recognizes as Captain Spaulding. He was not in the house. Spaulding is sitting at home watching all of it on the news when Baby calls him to warn him about the cops. Spaulding calls his friend Charlie at the whorehouse, and he wants to go hide there. Spaulding steals a car. "What's the matter, kid? You don't like clowns?" As he steals a car and throws out the people that are in it.
And threatens to kill the child. And
The mother, and come back and kill your whole family later.
Yeah.
And the kid's like 4. The whole movie is very graphic and very brutal, but it's got these little funny bits in it.
Yeah, and that's one of them.
Yeah, it's...
And I clung to those funny bits like a survivor of a shipwreck clinging to floating wreckage.
I think I smell a dislike here. Otis and Baby take a group of traveling singers hostage. Otis shoots one and rapes another. He then takes 2 male prisoners out to a remote warehouse to dig up some guns, but ends up killing both of them. He says, "I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work." And he cuts off one of the guy's faces and brings it home with him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the motel, Baby kills one of the women, and the other escapes, running right into the arms of Spaulding. Help me, there's crazy people," and he takes her right back.
Yeah, he's one of them. Yeah.
Otis returns, bearing the face of one of the men. He puts it on the remaining survivor, and they leave her there tied up in the room until she escapes and is run over by a truck. It's one of those, runs out into the road, boom! You see it coming a mile away kind of things.
Yeah, you saw that coming as soon as she's on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. The sheriff dreams about his brother, who is murdered by the Devil's Rejects, what they call this group of people now. He gets the Unholy Two, played by Danny Trejo, and
Trejo.
Diamond Dallas Page, the wrestling guy, to hunt them down. He kills Mother Firefly in her cell. Spaulding, Otis, and Baby drive to Charlie's. The next morning, Charlie and Cleavon, and Charlie is Ken Forey, who we've seen in some things, and Cleavon is Michael Berryman, who is
Classic.
perfect in this as sort of a little
Yes, he
henchman
is.
kind of
Henchman
assistant.
kind of guy.
Yeah.
He is perfect.
Charlie and Cleavon have the greatest scene in the movie when they go to buy some chickens. While they're there,
I'm laughing just thinking about it.
The sheriff drives up and orders Charlie to turn the other three guys over to him at midnight.
You're not even going to mention. Well, we can't.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, okay.
The chicken scene is worth the movie alone.
Yes, it is.
It does. Yeah. The Unholy Two track down the group for the sheriff, and the sheriff shows up at the appointed time. He captures the whole family and then drives them back to the Firefly Ranch. He ties them up and tortures all three of them. He releases Baby and then sets the house on fire with Spaulding and Otis inside. Charlie shows up and helps Baby briefly, but the sheriff hacks him apart with an axe. At this point, the sheriff is as bad as the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff has her pinned down and starts choking her to death when Tiny, the disfigured man from the opening scene, shows up.
What's the expression? Deus ex machina?
Deus ex, wrinkled, deformed monster guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's been lurking around.
You totally forgot he was in it. Nobody's mentioned him, but he's been hanging around since the beginning.
Yeah, he comes to her rescue.
So then Tiny also rescues Otis and Spaulding from the fire. It's a happy ending. Well, at least until they run into a roadblock of a dozen police cars, deputies, and cops.
Yeah, and then that's not so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you basically, it's jerky footage of you see them all getting killed. You do see them getting shot.
Yeah.
Well, let me go first, because I think yours is going to be more entertaining than mine.
No, not really. No. I'll just add to comments here.
William Forsythe, as the sheriff, is awesome. He doesn't even pretend that he's trying to take him into custody. He even yells at himself in the mirror. He's that much of a badass. He's out for blood. I did like the way the family gets along when they're alone, and the scene with the ice cream debate could be anyone. Tutti frutti.
Yeah, tutti frutti.
The chicken scene is so out of the blue and so out of place that it's easily the hardest I've ever laughed in the theater. I saw this in the theaters.
Oh, okay.
Oh. The complete brutality of the movie is what really makes the comic scenes work. And if you like the really vicious... Like, we did Cannibal Holocaust a few months ago, and we both kind of hated it because it was excessively violent.
Mm-hmm.
This is excessively violent, too, but it's got just enough humor and taste in it to make it entertaining, I thought.
And a good soundtrack.
And I didn't notice the soundtrack.
Really good soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah. Good song choices. And music.
So I do recommend it. I will call it a 7 out of 10. If you like violence, gore, and bad stuff. And you are...
Maybe a 5.
Okay.
The humor scenes, I loved Captain Spaulding with when he would start ranting, but there wasn't enough of his stuff, and the scenes were long and drawn out, I thought, excessively. And
Otis.
he didn't... most of the time, I was a little bit bored, actually.
Okay. Otis. Yeah. Every time I see an Otis, we've been watching Swamp Thing on TV, the 2019 Swamp Thing series.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I saw Otis, I couldn't help but see Will Patton with long hair. They have very similar faces and voices. And I'm just picturing old man Sunderland there with long hair.
Yeah, kind of.
And that's really not what anybody was going for, but there's a similarity there.
Yeah. You know, I was impressed by it. Was kind of a sobering, unhappy moment when I realized how they aged him up for Swamp Thing. Patton.
Well, he is getting older, isn't he?
And then I realized, he's just old now.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't age him up. I hadn't seen him in anything in a long time. I think maybe like The Postman might have been the last thing I saw him in.
Oh, that has been a while.
I don't know. Was Armageddon after that?
Yeah, about the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, anyway, just a hint of things to come.
Yeah.
We recently watched the original Swamp Thing movie, the second Swamp Thing movie, quite a bit of the 1980s Swamp Thing TV series, and of course the 2019 Swamp Thing series. We've got 2 more episodes of the Swamp Thing series to talk about, and we will have a special all Swamp Thing episode coming up soon. Maybe just for subscribers. We'll see.
Maybe
it'll be a regular episode.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Depends on how the series ends.
So anyway, I definitely had mixed feelings on this. I felt a little bit disappointed. I expected to like it more than I did. And
Considering just how
Yeah.
brutal and violent and nasty it is, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
no, okay.
There's no supernatural in this movie. It's simply
No,
a bunch
no.
of violent, ultra-violent, crazy people.
But that's Rob Zombie for you.
Yeah.
He took all the supernatural out of Halloween. He's a party pooper on supernatural
Real
stuff.
monsters aren't imaginary.
No, real monsters are people.
Yeah.